This meeting back to order. Mr. Romero?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to reconvene.
There's a motion on the floor to reconvene.
Second, Mr. Mayor.
There's a second by Mr. Romero, second by Mr. Montoya. Roll call, please.
Councilor Olivari Jr.?
Yes.
Councilor Montoya?
Yes.
Councilor Romero?
Yes.
Councilor Rodriguez? Have a motion by Councilor Romero, a second by Councilor Montoya. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you. Next order of business?
If we can just do roll call, Mr. Mayor?
Yes,
For
roll
the
call.
record. Mayor Luis Trujillo?
Present.
Councilor David Romero?
Here.
Councilor Elaine Rodriguez? Councilor Montoya?
Yes.
Councilor Olivari Jr.?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We do have a quorum.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, we can get back to the business at hand.
Sure.
We have our business items that were being discussed. Business item 1 was the discussion direction on prior fiscal year 2021 Main Street contract. Mr. City Manager?
Good afternoon, Council, Mayor. We would like to bring that topic back to the table to discuss the new scope of work that was presented by Main Street. As of Friday, it was emailed to the city, and I believe it was also emailed to the councilors for your review. Did you have any questions for Main Street?
Are there any additional questions anybody has?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Madam President, if you don't mind coming forward.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 2, I had a question on, so your next trash pickup date is going to be sometime in September, and we're already at the end of September. Has that already been planned?
It was Saturday.
Oh, it was Saturday.
And we were with Judge Gallegos in the 4th District Court, the drug court, and we had 12 volunteers come out, and we all worked and picked up the trash.
Okay, and they all signed in, and
Yes, I have a sheet, but I need to type it up.
documentation. Okay, and then item number 3, you have the time deadline of March 1st, 2021. That's one of the items that you're going to be completing within the next 6 months or 3 months, or
Which number?
item was it?
item number 3?
Which one is it? Can you read it?
Wayfinding?
It's providing support for the city of Las Vegas in support of the Great Block Project Phase 1 and 2, including seeking cash match support for the city of Las Vegas by seeking financial support from providing donors and support from grant writers for Phase 3 of this project.
Is it the Great Block project you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what's the question?
The timeline you had on there was March 1st, 2021. And I'm not going to be yelling, it's just that I'm just raising my voice.
He's hard of hearing.
Some people are
Yes,
misconstrued me
no,
as
thank you. Yes.
being mean or
Thanks for clarifying.
yelling or
So the reason we put March 1st is just to get the bid out there and accepted, because our deadline is June.
Okay.
It's not, obviously not to complete the project, but to get the bid out and get it signed.
Okay, yeah, and a line question with that one is, so on here it says that you guys would be doing, including seeking some cash matching support, and none of that has been done?
No, because
this
we
last year? We haven't gotten any funding, contributions or,
For the Great Block?
yeah,
No.
no.
Not yet. I mean, it's like we're not, the way we would fundraise for that is when the project was ongoing, we would seek funding like if we're not going to have, especially since we're going to have to cut $200,000 out of it, we might be raising money for benches or other kind of amenities that won't be funded. But it's hard, we can't fundraise for it until we start it. It's going to be really hard to do that. Because it'll be ongoing for a couple of years. It's a big project.
Okay. And my understanding is this scope of work are going to be the amendments to 2022.
Yes, the 2021 scope.
So,
And-
G2.
yes, this-
Okay, so Madam Clerk, so on this first item, for discussion and direction, if no one has any other questions, can we move forward and give direction that this would be the amendments to the contract of 2022, which we'll be voting on the next item?
Yes, you can give the direction to the city manager that the council, if that's the council's wish, to sign off on the amendments.
Okay. Is there any other questions? or-
I had some questions.
Mr. Romero?
And I don't know, I think I had mentioned it, the first meeting we had and then this last meeting. And within this amended scope, I had asked for deliverable, specific deliverables, what the city would be returning. And in each, and none of the deliverables in each, there was only one that, number 2, which said sign-up sheets will be available for volunteers. So obviously the deliverable will be sign-up sheets. So let me ask, for instance, on number 1 on the scope, what's the deliverable the city of Las Vegas will be getting to ensure that these were done? Because it's not on the scope.
So until we know what we need this year, we know that we want the real estate specialist to come back and talk to us about real estate and tax credits.
On number 1.
I'm at number 1 on 2022.
21. Or we're on the 2021.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Which one is that?
And even on the
That's the
2022,
streetscape, that's the-
even on the 2022, if we go to that one,
That's the streetscape?
yeah.
Okay.
So again, this goes back again to, what specific, in other words, whoever's sitting in the community development, whoever will be overseeing the contract.
Right.
And I've mentioned this, a few times now. What is the specific deliverable for each one of these items? And that wasn't listed in, this
Well, we know,
amended contract or this one.
so we know like with this, it's a facade squad. We're not quite at the point with the pandemic that we can do a facade squad, but we know that we're gonna do one. We're
So
already,
we'll do a sign-in sheet, is that what
Right.
you're
Or
asking for?
photo,
oh, you mean,
photos
yeah,
of the,
So the deliverable, see, this is kind of what I meant, so this is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have the
I remember
timeline,
you-
we have deliverables, so the deliverables will be sign-in sheets.
right,
and
so we can add that to.
Photos or whatever, so
Okay.
that's kind of what I was asking.
I thought you
For
meant that you
every
wanted
item.
the
I didn't know
deliverables,
it-
not that you wanted
I'm
on there.
sorry, I didn't know you
misunderstood.
needed that in the contract itself.
Yeah.
And
Just that
and the
you-
reason why I do that is because, let's say we come and we ask, okay, well, what's the proof? I mean, there's gonna be, of course, a facade squad, we know that, that's
No,
gonna be that visual that we
I know where
need.
you're coming from, we
But-
just didn't know it was supposed to be in the contract. We would give you the deliverables as far as like
Yeah, you wanted to see
sign
the
sheets
deliverable.
and pictures and stuff.
And I will be here each quarter, like with that information. So if I have the sign-in sheets from something that happened, I'll present them, or if I have photographs from something that happened, we'll present them.
To prove that it was completed in
Yeah.
some manner. I didn't know, I'm sorry, I would have put that in the contract.
Okay, so that was kind of my concern, with, or actually, both of them.
We'll make sure we have deliverables for each item on both the amended scope of 2021.
And I just don't want to fall into the, idea again where the person there felt that whatever deliverable was okay versus,
Okay.
No, we're
You know,
gonna
the
give
issues
you,
that
we'll give
we-
you a tangible proof of everything that we've completed, whether it's a signature on a document or, something to give proof that it was completed. I didn't know we had to write a specific thing about it.
Mr. Romero,
yes.
on this first amendment to contract with Main Street Las Vegas, you want to add that as a number 3 item? That's the amendment?
I'm on the amended scope.
Oh.
So like ABC?
Because that's what the motion's going to be based on.
Okay.
And if you,
I don't know if you guys got the
if you want to amend to number 3.
copy of the amended contract.
We know.
Yeah, the attorney just kind of, he's on vacation, so he just,
Thanks.
Okay, I'm asking Mr. Romero if he would want to add that as item number 3 on there
Oh, I
for
see.
the amendment for the new contract.
Well, you could add that one little line for for all of the contract.
Yeah.
That sign-in forms, photos, proof
of
will be
deliverables
presented
will be presented
for
and
each
given.
project
Yeah.
at a for the quarterly report.
Or evidence, you can use
Yeah.
evidence,
Oh, that, yeah.
will be provided.
We're not on the contract right now, we're on the amendment.
Well, but I'm just making them, I'm just saying that you can also add that to the
For the
contract.
contract?
Well,
Okay.
this will be approved with the contract.
So I can just add that to this and then send it back.
Number 3.
Does that work?
We could add it on 300.
On the amendment?
Amendment to the contract.
That sounds good.
All right.
And how do you want to
And then
work
we'll
that?
do it on the
Uh,
2022.
We'll ask the clerk, what language could we,
Time off.
Um,
I just said evidence will be provided.
Evidence,
For
you
each
could say
deliverable?
evidence such as sign-in forms, photos,
Yes.
any type,
An example.
minutes,
yeah,
minutes of a meeting will be presented at, during each quarterly report for each project.
did you come up with something, Cassandra? or-
Yeah, I'm writing
Okay.
something down.
Is that the new one? or
Yeah.
the new contract?
Is that what it is?
So with those changes, I guess, go ahead, Counselor.
You okay with those changes?
Let's see what language she...
Amendment?
Okay.
Yeah, with those changes, I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to move forward with approval of fiscal year 2021 Main Street contract
We have it.
with amendments.
I apologize for being late, but I have a couple of edits. You may have already,
We're still on this one?
We're still on the
2020.
okay.
Yeah, that's 2020.
And you made changes to the timeline.
Just to get, we get the physical deliverables from each item.
Because some places you put like March 1, 2021, so it'd be actually March 1, 2022.
Oh, we have a, okay.
Which one?
Oh, that's what you were talking about, is,
Yeah.
well, it said 2021 instead of 2022.
Yeah, 22.
I think that's item number,
I think we texted it.
And anytime you're using an acronym, and just for the public, an acronym is the capital letter for the first word, for the words that you're going to be referring to that organization or to a person as you move through the contract. You should always, and I see it kind of different in both of your contracts, the first time you use that acronym, you should spell it out completely and then put it in parentheses. Therefore, anytime you move through your contract, you're using that acronym, people would know what you're referring to, not just us, but anybody who's looking at your contract. Okay?
Where's that located?
That's like the formal way
It
of
goes, it's MSLV.
APA.
Chicago style.
okay. We'll make that,
We know Chicago,
we'll make that correction.
so that it's everywhere.
Yeah, no, well, just so the first time you use it, make sure it's spelled out all the way.
Yeah.
Then you can,
So was there anything else, amendments for the 2021?
No, it's
All
not.
right, there's a motion on the floor. Yes?
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Montoya, if you can amend your motion to state what's on the agenda, that you're giving direction to the city manager, because it's not for approval, if you can just state that you're giving direction to the city manager to sign off on the amended changes to the 2021 contract.
Okay, I make a motion to go ahead and approve item number 1 on the agenda, which is the fiscal year 2021 Main Street contract. And I give direction to the city manager to sign off on it with an amendment of number 3, evidence showing as minutes, photos, signing sheets will be reported on a quarterly basis with the scope of work results.
Thank you, Councilor.
And second?
Councilor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Councilor Montoya?
Yes?
Councilor Olivari Jr.?
Yes.
Councilor Romero?
Yes.
I have a motion by Councilor Montoya, a second by Councilor Romero. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries. Moving on to business item 2, request approval of Main Street fiscal year 2022 contract.
Good afternoon, Council and Mayor. Main Street would like to present the 2022 contract that was discussed at the prior meeting for your approval.
Discussion?
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Romero?
I just had one question. I don't know if you guys would be able to answer this, but on number 1, and I don't know what scope of work we have with the Las Vegas Arts Council, but I just want to make sure that whatever you guys are requesting here doesn't contradict an MOU. So like right now, it says coordinate First Friday gallery openings, create a sale, open studios. So what I'm getting at here is we pay Main Street to coordinate and do these gallery openings, and then we have another MOU. So we're paying 2.
But Main Street took back over the Arts and Cultural District. The Arts Council gave it up. So they have nothing to do with the Arts and Cultural District. I'll work with Susie when we do that, but they're not in charge of the Arts and Cultural.
Say that again, but I mean,
So the Arts and Cultural District so originally, Main Street had that, and then we gave that up to the Arts Council. Not gave it up, but.
Well, we were sharing it with them, but they got it. They had the Arts and Cultural District from the state.
Designation from the state.
They recently, about 6 months ago, gave up the Arts and Cultural District. So we held on to it. So that's why we're reactivating it.
So the city wouldn't lose it.
So we wouldn't lose it.
So the answer is no, you
So-
won't be paying twice you're going
No,
to be paying us.
it'll be
they
Main
will.
Street doing it.
okay, but doesn't the Las Vegas Arts, so the gallery would be at the Las Vegas Arts Council building, wouldn't it?
No, there's 11 galleries, so we would do an opening with all 11 galleries, but it would be, in the past, it was that the Arts Council was in charge of the Arts and Cultural District. They gave it up, they don't want to do it anymore. So
And
when
that's something New Mexico Main Street is kind of leaning toward, is all the cities trying to coordinate those services, because it really, if you look at our points, the Main Street points, it fits perfectly into that. So it was really mandated from a state level that we take it back.
So just to
Because they-
clarify on that, can we change some of that language to where it doesn't look like,
Sure. What would you like it to look like? For local artists.
I don't know how we would,
And work with others.
open studios, maybe studios where there's more than one? I mean, so it just doesn't look like we're
Create and sell an open studio event for local artists.
open studios event for local artists.
Include artists and
Include
open
artists and
studios from
I
Old Town.
guess it does. Well, I guess that fits in there, I
Would it
guess.
be okay?
Include artists and
Yeah.
open studios, okay.
And that's it.
Yeah, and that's something we probably should have been better communicated to the council that occurred.
And
Yeah.
maybe the Arts Council could have communicated it at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully with the quarterly reports, we'll be able to communicate things that are going. And even.
Keep better
and-
informed.
Yeah, keep you guys better informed, and even things that we hear that may be coming from New Mexico Main Street, just so everybody's on the same page.
Okay.
And
Any
if any,
discussion?
and if any city council member wants to, so every Friday, like last Friday, I was in a call for an hour with 28 towns, New Mexico towns. So if you ever want to sit in on those meetings, they're Zoom still, I think it'd be super beneficial, because we've seen, like at the last meeting, there were 2 city managers at the meeting, there were some city council people from Farmington, so it would be interesting, just like for one time, just to see all the other main streets and how they work. It's an hour meeting on a Friday.
We can send you the invite.
Yeah,
Sure,
we can send
that
you-
would be great. I'd like to attend.
I have a couple of.
Go ahead.
On number 2, that's what I was kind of talking about. If you look at measurable A, use ED, that should be executive director,
Oh,
and
thank
then
you.
parentheses
Yes,
ED,
ma'am.
and then thereafter. And now, by March 1st, 2022, you're just completing the bidding process, you're not completing and awarding, right? Just completing it?
Do what on,
Right, correct.
Yes.
Correct?
Correct.
Okay.
I thought the bidding already happened now.
no, well, the bidding happened in one round, but one company pulled out, and then Franken was $200,000 over. So we're going back to Franken. We're talking to the planner first, and then we're going to put that back out with $200,000 worth of stuff taken out of it.
Okay.
But there's more phases after that. It's a $2.2 million project.
Okay. And then, as you go through and do number 3, you're talking about Larry Archuleta. Who is he?
Oh, so
Is he a director?
Phil Archuleta owns P&M Signs.
Okay.
His brother is Larry Archuleta, and
So-
he is the person that does all the installs for all the signs around the state. And he lives in Las Vegas, though. He travels around the state.
So he's the owner of P&M?
He's the owner, yeah,
Okay.
he's the brother of the owner. But
And then as you move into number 4, you use another acronym, MSLV. Is that Main Street Las Vegas?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You haven't really named it in the contract.
So we'll correct.
We'll fix that.
And then you use your timeline as June 1, 2021. I
So that's-
believe it should be 2022, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Then as you move through, and I just do my changes real quick here. As you move into number 5, use another acronym, MRA.
Yeah, that's the, yeah.
Just name it and then, because you have to assume a lot of people look at these and they don't know acronyms.
So that's a metropolitan redevelopment,
And then A, use another acronym.
which is the New Mexico Main Street. So we could put a little letter.
I already told you how to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and then as you move into 7, you have September 30th, 2021. It should be 2022, or it's 2021. 2021, okay. And nowhere did I see in here, and I may have missed it, I apologize if I missed it, but when Councilman Montoya talked about reaching out into his ward, you said that you would put something in the contract. I didn't see anything addressing that in the contract, and I may have missed it.
No, I did. Can I hand this to you? This is.
Yeah.
So I was just working on this today. So this is what we were going to add.
Oh, okay. And
I have-
everybody?
And I can send it to everybody.
Okay.
Do you want to read it, Martha?
Do you want me to read it? I
When you're
can.
working with different.
So what this says is, it puts another number, it's number, I don't know the number, but it's number 8. So it says, Main Street of Las Vegas will explore ways to enlarge its district. Main Street of Las Vegas will explore ways to grow its boundaries. A committee of the Board of Directors will research how the MSLV district can add to the area directly west of the plaza of Pacific Street, South Pacific Street. It will also explore other possibilities and possible additions. So the goals are to form a committee of the Board of Directors to explore this, meet with the New Mexico Main Street staff to discuss how this process could work, and then report back to the board and city council about how this could work. This is going to take time, some time to do all that. And we're going to actually begin that discussion when they come here on October 5th, or at least bring it up.
Any other comments, concerns?
Mr. Merkin?
Mr. Romero?
On number 3, number 3 continued on the wayfindings. It says, plan future wayfinding phases, and I did attend one time, one of the meetings that you guys had for wayfindings, and at that time, there was discussion about a wayfindings through the South Pacific area, and I was wondering if we could add in there, specifically the South Pacific entrance. I know we have the wayfindings right now, currently, coming off the 104, but I just like to see if we
So
could.
Yeah, we can talk about that for sure.
So there's different phases. This
Yeah.
is only the very beginning.
Yeah,
of
yeah, and that's where-
wayfindings, And there's I'm not sure if there was one on South Pacific, but there were a lot more. There was 72 signs.
Well, there were 3 phases, so this is phase 1, which is 17 signs, and then it goes out. But if there is, I think it'd be maybe some extra money because it's costing less than we thought, but we might think about signs that are in that second phase that we want to do now. And that's something to talk about, and I can talk with Leo about that.
So can we put that, whether it's a second or third phase?
Do what?
To look at South Pacific?
Sure.
And I know many, that's actually one of the oldest entrances into the plaza area, and I think that needs to.
Right, and I know the second phase showed Old New Mexico when you come off the freeway, and it had signs there. So that was sort of the next phase of it.
Yeah, and I know there was kind of some discussion at the time, but it doesn't, I'm not saying it needs to be done, just we could put some language in there that we're looking towards, or looking at it towards another phase.
All right.
El Camino Riael.
Yeah.
Herald. And the Santa Fe Trail. All right, any other comments, concerns? I'll entertain a motion.
But we still have,
Are you done?
so I have one more question, and I don't know how this is gonna happen. So on the contract, it's 30,000 for a year, but we're already in the first quarter. And this is my concern, is that basically from July through today, we haven't had a contract, and you can't go back and pay for that quarter. So my concern here is, how do we come to an agreement on that first quarter? 'Cause
So I would write, my report would be due, I would do it by September 30th or the end of the month, and then turn that in at the first week of October, and then a check would be issued. So I don't know how we take out that quarter, because that would, especially this year or any year, it would be a huge chunk to sort of not say, you're not, and we're not going to pay that.
And the work hasn't stopped.
Huh?
I said, and the work has continued.
Well, why don't
Yeah, see, but that,
we could also make October, November, December the first quarter of their contract.
But we would still lose 3 months.
No? Because you already paid, right, for this?
No, we haven't been paid for July, August, September. We're at the end of September.
I got you.
So that's the quarter. So the contract is supposed to actually be done by July 1st. The whole process is supposed to happen earlier. So, and we've never been this late. So normally this gets done sometime in August. And so, I mean, I don't know how we don't get paid for the first quarter. That wouldn't work, and that wouldn't work with New Mexico Main Street. That wouldn't work at all, I don't think.
So in actuality, we should be negotiating the contract in June? Is that what you're saying?
We started working on the contract in June. It would be signed normally in July sometime.
By July, I
Or
see.
sometimes it would go back to the beginning of August, but it would always be signed in one of those 2 months.
Okay.
And we would be operating, we're operating all the time, still working and doing all the stuff that we do.
You're just not getting payments.
So then it would be that we weren't paid $30,000 in 1 year.
That's a conundrum.
it goes
We'll have
back,
to figure out
that goes back to the, I mean,
how you're gonna pay that first contract. First quarter.
Council, if I may, Main Street, is there some items in here that have already been done in this scope of work?
Sure, we planned the trash pickup we did this week. I mean, there's a whole series of stuff.
But that trash pickup was
Was it
tied to
last
last year's contract, right?
No, but it was also, we worked on the community, we worked on things in this year's contract, like wayfinding. You know, I was in Mountain Air twice. We worked on things with Great Rock. So we continued working on everything that's in those contracts, especially the multi-year things. I mean, and the agreement that we have with the state of New Mexico, we have an MOU with the state of New Mexico that it defines what the partnership is, and it's a $30,000 contract for the year, each year. So if we can't skip a quarter,
the state contract specifically has the 30,000?
I think, yeah.
So is that where this contract money is going to directly? Is that where this contract funding is going directly?
No.
If it's a $30,000,
The $30,000 goes into our general operating support in our budget, so it's 1/5 of our budget now.
but then you in return give them $30,000?
We don't give them anything. The money is to keep, it goes into our general operating fund. New Mexico Main Street gives us all the things they give us. They helped us get the $550,000 from the state. They brought us $69,000 in services last year with architects and planners. So the state continued, and some of that happened in July and August, so the state continues to give us stuff
So
as
would
part of
you-
the contract.
Would it help if we tried to get on the next official city meeting agenda to give our quarterly report for that first quarter then?
But the,
To be,
I think
to then be,
the issue that Councilman Romero is bringing up is if we sign the contract today, which is what?
it's
September
retroactive to July
27th,
1st, that's how it
Right.
works.
How do we pay prior to that?
it can't be
If the contract wasn't
retroactively.
signed?
But it's retroactive to July 1st, because this quarter is July, August,
Yeah,
September.
you'd have to make it
Well, with
retroactive.
contracts, that's where we kind of lie within the whole scope of an audit finding, backdating. things
The
like that.
trend though is if we don't get that money, we won't be able to. fund
We won't be a Main Street.
They-
If the city doesn't do the quarterly payment.
The state will take away
Main Street.
our designation.
It's
And I don't
probably an
understand
attorney
why
question.
that would be an
Yeah.
issue. It hasn't
Yeah,
ever.
the attorney's probably gonna have to figure out how to put wording in there to get paid for that first quarter.
Do what?
So there's nothing on the state contract that says
We can
that.
ask the attorney. I can ask the attorney.
But what they're saying is they need that money, to be able to move
And we're
forward.
probably saying that we do, I need to look at the state MOU, the agreement we have with the state and the city has with the state.
So can we send that to the
Yeah, I
attorney?
have it here. Yeah, there's nothing in there that I see.
It's a good faith thing. They're gonna be here next week. The director of the program will be here next week. And, it's part of the agreement that we have to get everything that we get from New Mexico Main Street, from the $550,000 to the $69,000 in services.
The trick is that we have to have, so $5,000 is in kind from the city for the office, and then $30,000 from the city in order to meet, there's different tiers of Main Streets, and we're the top tier. If you're the top tier, you're eligible for more things through the state. If we lose that designation, then we would be a lesser
Tier.
Main Street, and we wouldn't be eligible for the Great Blocks project for one.
We'd give up the
Right.
$550.
Yeah.
So council, what I was trying to get at is if Main Street can go through and identify some of the things that have already been achieved on that scope of work, it would allow us to pay them out for the first quarter if they've already done some of these things that are line by line, if you can identify those things.
She did?
Well, yeah, there's only,
We can go through it
there's only
right now
7
if you
items
wish.
on there. If you can go through that, it would justify the city paying them out. There's still 3 days left in the quarter.
Yeah, the work
That's-
that you did in July, August, and September. Oh, I see what
We
you're
don't
saying.
know what
Yeah.
we've done in
But there's still that question where there was no contract in place for us to have been paying for those services during that month. That's where I'm getting at.
Right.
I can't hear with your math
No,
wrong.
so what I'm saying is, even though it's been done, there's been no contract.
That's, but,
It's,
so the,
yes, no, we understand where you're coming from. We just have to figure out a way to do it.
Yeah.
but we started the
So we
contract,
need to-
my stuff was into Bill in June, so it would be ready in July.
Right.
So it went to Bill Henderson and it was there. So, or the former city community development director. So that's when we started the process, and I have to get all my stuff to him by June 15th, which I did.
Right.
So,
that would cover that point.
Huh?
That would cover that point.
But
If you started the process in June.
Yeah. I think it just needs to be
Somebody just
noted.
dropped the ball. That's what happened.
So I guess for the record, do you feel that the community development director dropped the ball by not getting to us sooner?
do what?
So do you feel that the community development
We're not-
director?
we're
I don't want to
really-
blame anybody, I just know we got our stuff in on time to start the contract process in June.
Yeah, it was submitted to the city. What happened after that, we're unaware of.
Maybe that can be noted, Leo, in the contract, is that all their documentation and contract was submitted to the community director in June, and the council, you know, we probably just need to document the timeline for that. So there's no blame associated with anything, it's just,
Well, I think they did their due diligence and what they had to do,
correct.
and we didn't.
Who's we?
Well, not me or you, but the community development department,
Correct.
the city itself, in general,
Just
you know.
define we. Correct. And just state that in the
Do we
contract.
want to try and get a hold of Scott and ask him if there's some language that we can change in the terms that might help with
The other
that?
concern that I had, not concern, but I don't know how we're going to do this, but the other concern, and it's going to tie to the old contract, basically the old contract's already been paid for. But the thing is, yes, we'll have this amended, authorization, the extension basically on these. But there's no teeth to it, so if you guys don't do it, there's really nothing to hold accountable on this contract. What I would like to see if the council will do is somehow, if we do move forward with this one, that we tie this one, that if these aren't done by a certain time, then these items are,
Well, let me just say one thing. So just starting in January of this year, when we shifted our scope of work, we communicated that to the community development director. So when things switched and we did cash mob, and we did the community garden, and we did the other things, I just don't want that to be forgotten. We did those things instead of our regular stuff, and that went into our contract starting in the third quarter in our reports. We wrote those things in our reports, which I sent you. So it was like we didn't do the big party, we didn't do facade squad, but we did do these other things that were in the
and I
third quarter report.
understand, and I understand you, Michael,
Right.
but again, this falls to an audit, plain and simple. The contract that we had with you, and the contract cannot be signed by Bill Hendrickson, it cannot be by the city manager. The contract, just as we're going through it tonight,
Right.
is approved by the city council.
Right.
So what he did, he stepped out of his authority and made those authorizations and changes, that he went beyond his authority to do that. What it should have done is should have come before us. So that's going to be, I'm telling you right now, it's going to be an audit finding.
Right, but everybody does remember we were in an emergency situation. So when the stores were going to close in our 3 districts, that's who we did it for. So it was real relevant to our mission to do what we did. Even the community garden at that point, that was all relevant to our mission. So it's not like we did crazy stuff. We did stuff because of what happened with the pandemic. And so I just wanted to get that out there because that's what we did.
I mean, when really the rubber meets the road when you guys when you approve our contracts. If we don't complete what's on the 2021 amendments, you just don't give us the money, on the 2023. I mean, really that is
That's a
your
contract.
power.
That's what the contract is.
Yeah, that's your power.
Yeah, but the previous contract.
No, but that is an amendment that is contingent on completing the 2022 as well.
Well, we haven't tied it yet to that is kind of what I'm saying. But I'd like to somehow tie it, but if it's not done, then this one, but I don't know how we do it.
There has to be, I think there also has to be sort of, we are partners in this, and there has to be some trust that we know what we're doing at times, and it was more important that we shifted our focus which we communicated to the community development director, but we also put in our report. So it wasn't like, oh, we're over here doing this when we said this. It was like, oh my God, there's a pandemic, we're doing this because we need to do this for the community.
I know, we were
And
worried
again,
about the
I'm not saying, I mean,
I know, but so-
all those items you did, I'm not disregarding what you guys have done.
But it wasn't a normal
At the
year.
end of the day,
Think
What
of
if,
that,
well,
he
Mike,
just-
well, Mr. Romero, what if at the bottom of that amended one for 2021, that you state there, that there's a statement at the bottom of the 2021 amendment, that you state there that the affirmation is added to the 2022 contract, and all deliverables have to be completed by their fiscal year next year.
Right.
And if they're not, then we don't fund you next year.
Right.
You see what I mean?
you could do that. That's fine.
We
That way it
understand.
obligates them to complete all of their amendment for their last year's contract, and it commits them to do the ones for 2022.
And we understand, you have to make sure that, you know, everything's in there, that if somebody comes, you're like, well, it has to be done here, and this is what they gave us. We understand that, and we want to work with the city as much as we can.
And just so you'll know, is that this contract is going to be a prototype for what other contracts are going to come, whether it's Chamber of Commerce or whoever
Yeah.
comes.
So we're part of-
This contract is going to be a prototype, so we need to know that everything that, you know, the deliverables, all that
Everything's
stuff.
nice.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I get it. I understand.
And this is a hard way to learn a lesson.
We don't mind playing that well.
Yeah, but you guys,
It's
this
not easy,
contract's
but
going to
we-
be a prototype.
Yes.
I just happen to be the first.
Yes.
Right, so we are the
Sometimes it's
prototype.
not great to be the
No.
first, right? You always want to be
Yes.
first.
And we welcome we welcome your feedback and how to, do this contract better and do our job and work with you better.
Doesn't mean we won't grit our teeth.
No, that's understandable.
We
Is that
understand.
acceptable?
We won't be an example.
Just, I just have concerns over the paying back, and I'm just one of four.
Mr. Romero, if this helps any on this professional service contract with Main Street and the city, right there, it says that if they're not abiding by this contract, whether it's quarterly or annually, it can always be canceled off by either party. That's 1, 2, 3,
Okay, yeah.
6, 8-page document.
This contract, does it say what date, I mean, when are the payments made? I don't-
No, it doesn't. It says quarterly.
It says when the invoices are
Says
due.
where the city will pay. But we've had that in the past, I remember seeing that quarterly. Yeah.
Within 30 days. Payment shall be made to the contractor within 30 days after the city verifies its acceptance of the work in writing.
Can we change that language to where they present to us quarterly and based off of,
mean, they can present to us, but the documentation needs to be verified and checked by the city manager, whoever does that. I think that's the problem in the past, is that documentation wasn't checked.
Yeah, that's it's in there.
It says, payment shall be made after 30 days. Payment shall be made by the contractor within the 30 days after the city certifies its acceptance of work in writing. So really, if they don't, the city doesn't accept their work in writing every quarterly, they can not pay them.
Correct.
And cancel their contract.
So it's already in.
We had that in place and it still happened.
Well, it's because nobody acted on it. That's because they weren't reporting to us.
But I mean, according to the contract, they didn't have to.
Right.
That's
But
the,
there are agreements already.
never
that
knew we
they're
were
gonna report to us.
I know, but that's what I'm saying, is in the new contract, it doesn't reflect that.
In our scope of work, it does, though.
What's this one here?
Oh, wait, is it just the amended one?
Professional service contract.
Yeah, I have that.
Oh,
It just,
Yeah.
he's saying that it doesn't say that they have to report quarterly to the city council. So you may want to put that in, is what you're saying, into the contract.
Yeah, into the actual contract.
Yeah.
And if it helps for now, it says it in both our amended scope of work from 2021 and our 2022 scope of work that the Las Vegas City Council will be presented on the progress of each of these below deliverables on an ongoing basis and at quarterly city council meetings.
Oh, yeah, that's where it's at.
Contract.
Is that it there on to item number B on the contract?
Just included in there, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. If they report to us quarterly.
Okay. Now you take that paragraph that they put in there amended and then just stick it into B. The paragraph that you say the Las Vegas City Council will be presented on the progress
okay.
of each of
Oh, okay.
these below delivers.
Yeah, they gotta put it on.
I'd say on an ongoing basis and at quarterly city council meetings. Or not, yeah.
Okay, I'm good with that. And B?
Yeah. You
Get that, Sandra?
You stick it under
On
B?
B?
Yes. The wording's awkward, but I think you could change it, deliverables on an ongoing. Like, if you're saying on an ongoing basis, then maybe put in parentheses every quarter.
Or just regularly? instead of
Because you're saying on an ongoing basis and then at
So we
every
could just
quarter.
eliminate
It seems like it's a,
Could we just eliminate the ongoing and just say
Yeah.
report quarterly?
yeah, you can just say deliverables on a quarterly.
Okay.
The reason I put that in there is because we had specified that we were gonna, the council was gonna get information as it became available to us, just to keep you guys informed. Instead of just dumping all the information at a quarter, we were talking about trying to keep you guys abreast of things, so when we meet with you during the quarter, it's not a big surprise.
And you probably can do that, it's just,
But
I
it
don't
just-
think you want it in the contract, because then if
Okay.
you miss the ongoing base part,
Right.
your contract can be,
That could be a gray area.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
does that work?
Yeah, and then also, you got
Councilor
that too?
Rodriguez, where is that in the contract? And you said B, on which number?
3.
On the actual contract?
On
3B?
the
3B.
contract,
3B?
3B, though?
I'm sorry?
Number 3B?
And D.
Yeah, 3B,
3B.
3B.
No, de vaca.
And I found a place to put on number 4 on the actual contract. We have I, the double I, and then I'd like to add another one, triple I.
Triple I.
And I'd like to put the contract may be terminated if items from 2021 contract are not completed. Unstated.
If we change the contract too much, we have to show it to our, like a lawyer too. So it's like, the stuff about how we're reporting and stuff is fine, but if we start changing any other stuff, we have to show it to somebody, because we wrote that contract together a long time ago.
That's my recommendation. You guys-
That's only like 2 items, is that a?
Right, no, it's fine. It's just if we
We're not probably going to go beyond 2 items.
No, that's it. Contract may be terminated if items from 2021 contract are not completed.
And we never want that to happen again, is what I would say about that. So we won't be doing amended 22 things in 23. That's our hope.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you get that, Cassandra?
Oh,
But we
that's
won't have a
guaranteed.
pandemic, I hope.
Ain't gonna happen.
Because,
Oh, the 2022 warrant.
yeah, we're already in there, right? It's confusing if there's people.
Okay, guys ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, got all that, Cassandra? Okay.
Let's see if we got this right, Cassandra.
And then this is the template for all other contracts.
Well, the only other thing, and I don't know, I mean, like I said, we're okay on this, but just on the next one, I know you said you were going to come up with the, the list of deliverables, but maybe the contract for the future, we could actually put it in the contract, like the sign-in sheets, all that. Just next time, to put the specific
Okay.
deliverable.
Okay. Okay.
What's the pleasure of the council?
I'd like to go ahead and make a motion, Mr. Mayor. We approve the contract for 2022 for Main Street with the following first amendments. Adding amendment number 3 to it. Evidence showing as minutes, photos, sign-in sheets will be reported on a quarterly basis with the scope of work results. The other amendment is item number 8. What was that? No, Ms. Rodriguez? Councilor
I'm
Rodriguez?
sorry.
What is that, that piece of document information that she gave you? Oh. Exploring its boundaries. In addition to other words?
Yes.
Number 7?
Do you need to get a copy of it?
The clerk will need that.
Okay.
Give that to the clerk. She's gonna need that. To amend that, to include South Pacific Street on number 2. On number 2. On number 3, item number 3, on the amendment. Item number 8 goes on there. Add it on.
Okay.
Just item number 8. And on item number 3, to add on South Pacific Street,
South Pacific entrance.
or entrance.
That's tied to the wayfinding, sir?
Yes, sir. The other amendment would be on the professional service contract. Item number 3B. Had on there that it would be reported on a quarterly basis to Mayor and Council.
Okay,
And then item number 4, third I. Contract may be deleted of 2021 if contract is not completed.
Maybe terminated.
maybe terminated?
Terminated, I guess.
Got it.
And with that, I would just like to add that this contract will be retroactive to June 30th, 2021. And that's my motion.
I'd like to amend that motion.
Okay.
If Councilman Montoya is fine with it. I'd like to also include in the contract contact information.
Contact information for who?
For either the director or
The
like
director
phone
of the
number
board?
or the board, somebody, so that you
It
can.
would be the two of us.
Yeah,
And then we check.
because the contract doesn't have your information in it, like phone number or email.
Okay. And on that note, can we make one more amendment, just, I guess he still has
I'm
name.
still going. The second thing I'd like to add, not just to this contract, but all contracts, is
Contact.
the department and line item that you're pulling this money from. Does that make sense?
So,
Yeah.
isn't it just up the general budget?
General fund? General fund, I don't
General
know what
fund.
line item.
Yeah. So it's a way of us also keeping track of. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So it's amended.
You had an amendment?
I'm no longer, this is, process has taken so long, I'm no longer president. Reina's actually the president of the meeting.
And you're the vice president.
We just changed the name on the contract.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
There's a motion, I'm not going to repeat it, I'll entertain a second.
Madam Chair, I do accept those amendments.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second. I'll entertain a second.
Yes.
Second by Dr. Rodriguez, roll call please.
Counselor Olivari Jr.,
Yes.
Counselor Rodriguez,
Yes.
Counselor Romero,
Yes.
Counselor Montoya.
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Montoya, a second by Counselor Rodriguez. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been nice working with you.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
patience.
Well, there's a way that everything sort of,
You really helped us now in moving forward.
and we
with
have more
contracts.
clarity, we have more clarity.
Yeah.
I mean, we come and do the quarterly reports, we give you the documentation. We didn't have those directions, it's great. I mean, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Adjourn?
Second.
Not really. Is there a need for an executive session? Motion to adjourn, please.
Motion, Mr.
There's a motion by Mr. Montoya to
Second.
adjourn, second by Dr. Rodriguez. Roll call, please.
Counselor Romero,
Yes.
Counselor Rodriguez,
Yes.
Counselor Montoya,
Yes.
Counselor Olivari Jr.
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Montoya, second by Counselor Rodriguez. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
I think it's like just right.
Do you?
Yeah. You're warm-blooded. Is it warm-blooded?
I don't
You get cold. and If you're cold-blooded, then you stay warm. I think.
Bye-bye.